Joining us now in the Hyundai Texans Radio studio, it's head coach Lovie Smith. Coach, thanks a lot for being with us. One more game left in the season. Let's talk a little bit about what happened against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you mentioned you didn't see that one coming. Obviously, none of us did. And it seems like 2 or 3 plays just let the game kind of slip away. You're holding your own for a while, but the long run and the scoop and score in particular were really problematic.
Yes, that sequence. They went down. I chose to go for it on 4th down, and that backfired a little bit. And they were able to get on the board right away. But after that, I thought we settled down a little bit. And that long run, we had some things that we did. I'm talking about allowed them to get that explosive on the long touchdown run. A few missed tackles and all that. And then the sequence where they scored another one off of our offense. That really put us in a hole. Guys fought back after that, but got in too big of a hole to come out of.
Coach Obo seems to continue to be making plays no matter the situation. Again, yesterday, I think a sack and a TFL. Since I think the first 9 games, he didn't have a sack. I think he maybe have had a TFL, but he's had every sack and every TFL after. What went on? What was the light going on moment for him that you saw that really kind of got him going?
First off, we talked, John, about everybody eventually will get an opportunity to prove who they are. You have to wait patiently sometime and be ready for that opportunity. He was. And all I know is he's continued to show up. He's continued to practice hard. He's always played hard. He has ability, too.
Yep.
And when he got that opportunity, he's just continued to make plays. That's what it's about. When you start playing, you continue to make plays. We'll continue to give you that opportunity. And it seemed like each week we're talking about something he's done.
Coach, you talked about the 4th down decision, and you had a couple of them in the game. How do those work? Obviously, it's your call, but do you say yes, and then the play gets delivered by Pep Hamilton and his staff? I mean, how does that kind of work for the fans? Can you explain the process a little bit?
Yeah, that's a good question. Offensively and special teams, if we're going to do something out of the ordinary a little bit, like I normally let Pep know early whether we're going to go for it. It's a 4-down situation that we're in. Mm-hmm. And sometimes field position would dictate that a little bit more. I'm talking about, say, we get the ball in the red zone right away. As early as possible, I'll let him know that it's 4 downs that he's working with as he makes his play call. But then sometimes just on the field, like this wasn't a red zone situation, but it's 4th and short.
Right.
Just feel good about us making it. Those are times that we have to always be ready to go for it.
Coach, I want to go back to after that, they end up going and scoring 7-0. But then your defense settles in at that point. Is that kind of how you started me? We talked about that a little bit at halftime too. Just getting settled down in a game. How difficult can that be to get into a football game, especially late in the year? Everybody banged up a little bit. But you did find that. You eventually did get settled into the game after that first drive, and it kind of felt like I don't want to say you had them on their heels, but it felt like offensively you really kind of had them figured out at that point.
Yes, and that's, John, if you just go back to the previous week against the Titans, same thing. They scored big, long touchdown run early on, but the guys bounced back. That's just kind of football a little bit. Things happen. You have opportunities later on, and that's what, we didn't match that. The way we normally have.
Desmond King had an interception. What about the kind of season he's having? I look at some of these guys, Coach, and these veterans that you've acquired over the last couple of years, and him and Tremon and Tavier Thomas, they've all seemed to contribute in various ways.
Yes, Dez does a lot for us. He's a returner, and he gets a chance to return, punts for us. But he's also, our starting corner. And, it's about taking the ball away. I think we took the ball away a couple times yesterday. And we've been one of the best teams at doing that. We've been a top 10 type team for many years doing that, taking the ball away. And this year is the same. It's one of the things. But it's a big part. Dez interception yesterday, of course, was big. He has excellent hands. You're a returner. You should have good hands.
Right.
He has that. And we'll need that this week. It's always about the turnover ratio. Previous week, of course, big ones for us. This week, not as many, but we're at least on the board.
Coach, I know you don't hate the Colts, kind of like the individual to
like
my
I
left
do,
here, like he does. He hates the Colts, but this has been a rivalry for the last probably 10, 12 years, kind of going back and forth. You tie in week 1. Now you face them in the last week. How much different are the teams over those 17 weeks going into week 18, and how forward do you look to playing the Colts?
Well, look forward. They're a division opponent. They don't have as much of a history, maybe, Mark, as you have with them, but we understand the division opponent and how important that is. How much they've improved since then. They've had a difficult season just like we have, too. A lot has happened, with them. But they run the same offense, though. They haven't really changed any of that on what they're committed to the run still.
Right.
They have had a revolving door a little bit at the quarterback position. But most of their defense, I think they play good defense throughout the year. The offensive line is pretty much intact. So we know where we're going to get. It's always tough when you go on the road.
Well, I was going to ask you about knowing what you're going to get because they are so different, and 3 different starting quarterbacks, 2 head coaches, a partridge and a pear tree, or not that, but it is just very different in terms of personnel because I'm looking at some of the guys who were making plays or not for them yesterday, and it's a lot of different names. They were there on the depth chart, but it's a different style of play.
Yeah, and I'd say that's the case for a lot of teams this late in the year. Injuries have kicked in and amongst other things, but just defensively, their front is pretty much intact on what we'll see. Darius Leonard hadn't played in a long period of time. And then offensively, their receivers are healthy now. Of course, Jonathan Taylor's not there, but they are. They still, start watching video from them. They're still running the same offense that they ran earlier.
Well, you faced Taylor enough in college, and we've seen enough of him here with the Colts. So we're done with Jonathan Taylor for a little while. That's okay. But they got a Texas boy playing quarterback in Sam Ehlinger, and he is a guy that at Texas relied on his wheels a little bit. As you face quarterbacks this year, Coach, you've kind of seen all types, but Sam's a little different that they will scheme up some runs for him and do some different things. What are your thoughts about facing a guy that we haven't faced, but we know he's got some definite running skill, and if you focus too much on that, he can throw it as well?
Well, that's what you're right. He's each week as we go in, you have to identify what type of quarterback we're playing. And you're right, we're playing of course, all the quarterbacks will be able to throw the ball, but he is one that can move the chains with his feet, with his legs. And so we have to be ready for that. Different game plan. Yep. We have teams on their heels a little bit based on who we have at the quarterback position from play to play, really. So got to be ready for that if he's the guy.
Along the lines of them being different, I'm going to ask you a question the way Johnny asks me a question. If you had to pick one tape that you could use to prepare for this game, last week's or the Colts tape against the Giants or week 1 against the Texans, which one would you use?
Well, we're going to use both. We're going to look at the first one, of course, but we really believe in what have you done lately.
Okay.
So we're going to start working our way back from this last game.
Yeah, you see the question. I make them tough on him. They're a little bit tougher than that one. You handle that well. Coach, I know this time of year, whether you're having a great season or whether you're having a tough season, when you're getting to the end of a season, because of how things change in the NFL or whether it's college or wherever, it's a tough life for a coach to live in some sense because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know, what's going to happen next, whether you're doing well or you're not. How tough is this part of the year for you? Being a coach with the number of staff members you have and all that kind of stuff, how tough is it at this part of the year, no matter what's going on?
I mean, it's tough, but that's, we know what we sign up for.
Yep.
That's a part of it at the end of the year. There's evaluations, and then you look at your record. All of those things are just normal part of end of the year people that are involved in sports. And in our case, in football, it's just a part of what it is. And you look forward to it. As soon as you get to that spot, you start moving on, going forward to the next year.
Well, you've been really good about painting the picture of what's at stake and entering the final 3 games with those divisional opponents. Coach talked about the AFC South and having a winning record in the division, and that's still on the table for you here.
Still on the table.
As you take on the Colts. That's a big carrot at the end of the year to walk out of that building feeling good about what just happened.
Yes, and that's what it's down to 1 game, and of course we split with the Titans. We split with the Jaguars. And, of course, we have a tie versus the Colts. So getting one more win against that third division opponent is big for us. If we need some motivation for this last game, of course, that should give it to us.
Well, you got that symmetry going. That's the one thing, being a math guy, I like the symmetry, but we can shake it up with a win would be kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, we're having Jake Hansen on the Players Show. So tell me a little bit about him because I know you have history. at Illinois, here, obviously. He says, well, when he first worked for you or worked with you, you didn't have the beard, but he said very much the same guy, just at a pro level. So you tell us about Jake, college Jake and NFL Jake, because he was a 3-time captain at Illinois, and here he is as an undrafted rookie trying to make a name for himself.
Well, if you talk about a guy being a captain that long, it kind of tells you what his makeup is all about. That's what I saw then. Saw a guy that's from a football family. Football is important to his entire family. Very supportive that way. Very coachable. And he could play. I mean, he bought into, what we were trying to get accomplished on the defensive side of the football. I knew that he would have a career in NFL, would be his next stop after college. And he fought through some injuries, so he's fought through adversity. All those things you need to go through, he has. And just like the way he's playing right now. I like the way a lot of our young players are playing, but really like what some of the Jake and some of the other guys doing.
Coach, I'm taking a second to try and imagine you without the beard. I can't do it. I can't do it. But along those lines with Jake, but also rookies in particular, first-year guys, they've gone from playing their final game in college, they went right into the draft process. They get drafted, they go right into OTAs. They maybe had a little bit of a break before training camp. They've been going for a while. What's kind of the advice you give to the young guys that have gone through that process? When the season ends, what's the most important thing for them to have to do? Is it important to get away for a little bit, just get football behind them? What do you expect from those guys, and what do you want from those guys?
Well, absolutely. There's things they need to do is get away first off. It's been a long year.
Yeah.
You're right. You mentioned all the things they went through from the end of their college careers. I mean, combine, all-star games, workouts.
Yeah.
And then trying to learn how to be a professional football player. So it's been a long stretch, and there's a period of time. And then before you know it, all season is starting. But first thing is to get away a little bit and then start getting your mind set for when you're going to start working out again. I think once you start working out, just in general, whether you're an NFL player or not, you never get too far away from taking care of your body and not getting too far away from that, and none of our players will.
Well, a lot of them like to work out wherever they're from or with other guys and other trainers and things like that. I imagine some of them can just work out here, but what do you think of that when they're working out together away in South Florida or here in Texas, but not at the facility and trying to keep themselves in shape or get themselves in shape for the oncoming campaign?
I think if you live here in town, of course, we have the best facility that you could possibly want to train in. So come back here. But at the same time, before our off-season program starts, if you want to get away a little bit, and people live a lot of different places, you're going to travel, find some place where you can work out. And eventually, though, you need to come back and get on the routine that, and for us, our Houston Texan routine, and let our guys, our strength conditioning staff and nutrition, all the people here get their hands back on you.
Is it strange as a coach when you have that period where you can't talk football with them, and maybe the strength and conditioning coach is the guy who sort of takes over at that point, but you're not supposed to or allowed to talk football with them until they come back for the off-season conditioning program, right?
I don't think it's – I think everybody looks forward to that time. They need a break from us. We need a break from them. But really to just get away, I mean, that's the best thing you can do mentally, just to take a mental break from all of that and just, unwind a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think that's a must, in every offseason.
Coach, the CBA has changed over the years. I know when you started as head coach versus what it is right now. If there's something that you would like you and your staff to be allowed to do during the off season, is there something that stands out more than any other? Would you like to be able to kind of do some teaching of some ball or something like that? How has it changed, and what would you like to see changed if you could?
No, it's changed an awful lot. I kind of like the way we are in off season really right now. We talk about time away. It's been a long year. 17 games, preseason games. It's been a long year. So for the guys to get away, and, we haven't been under normal conditions for a period of time. COVID is, seems like it's in our rearview mirror now. But there is enough time if the guys come in when all season program starts for us to get everything done that we need to.
Well, Coach, we see that you stay in shape. Do you change your routine at all once we get out of the season? How do you handle that?
Yes, I think just like the players, there'll be a period of time where I'm not as disciplined as I probably need to be. And that's with what I put in my body and just working out a little bit, but never get that too. It's a lifestyle that I've chosen that I stay with pretty much year round.
All right. Well, I've got the Amegy Bank Ask Coach question of the week. This is about officials, and we don't want to get you in trouble or anything, but take us through, for the fans who don't know, on a game day, when do you meet with the officials prior to the game, and what kind of things are discussed? What can you tell us about those meetings and conversations, Coach?
Well, normally on a normal game day, the officials, about an hour and a half or so before the game, the officials stop by the dressing room and I talk with them. They ask questions. I give them the captains. There are any unusual plays that or formations that they need to be aware of.
Okay.
Any concerns that I might have, those things. Then after that, and normally two of the officials come there, the two that will normally be on our sideline for the first half. So we get to know each other a little bit then, even though we all know each other anyway. So that's what normally happens. Once I normally come out on the field about maybe an hour before the game, and then I will actually talk to the referee then. Casual conversation a little bit. Same thing. He'll ask me, any concerns you have? Let's have a good game today. That's pretty much it. Once the game starts, we respect the officials and the job that they have to do. We definitely don't always agree with it, but that's a part of it always.
Coach, we were playing Dallas a few weeks back. I guess we were within the 90-minute window. Jaron Kearse, now he ended up playing the game, but as he was going through warm-ups, he tweaked something.
Yes.
And he didn't finish warm-ups. If that were to happen for you guys, that's it. I mean, he would just, as if you got hurt in a game, you can't bring another guy up at that point, even though it's in warm-ups, correct?
You have to designate the guys that are inactive about an hour and a half before the game. And after that, if something happens, you're just on your own. That's it. That's happened a few times on what happened in that Dallas game with us. Two safeties many years ago with that. And but normally, you have a couple different it would take a couple different injuries before you really get into trouble.
Yeah.
How many voices do you like in the headset? What do you like to hear, and what do you kind of not block out, but tune out in the sense that I don't need to hear that stuff. I need to hear this stuff. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I mean, modern technology now, I really have everyone that's talking I have going on constantly, really. Now, I can talk to whoever I would like to, or you can cut whoever you don't want to talk to. So there's different channels. Like I have a channel for defense, I have a channel for the offense and special teams. And then someone up top is looking for, challenges and things like that. So modern technology allows you to do an awful lot nowadays.
How do you handle defensive adjustments while the offense is on the field when you sort of want to pay attention to the offense, but you want to fix or adjust something on the defense? How does that go?
Well, the position coaches handle those. We're constantly talking about it. Once our defense comes off, they go to the sideline. We have one position coach on the sideline for each group. They go through it there. I kind of still hear what they're talking about, and I'm always keeping my mind on what's happening on the field at that time.
And these commercial breaks are long, right? You have a lot of time to talk during them.
A lot of times doing that, but you have a lot of times throughout, too.
Yeah.
That's normally not much of an issue.
People at home are watching a Modelo commercial, and you're going over adjustments.
Okay, we've talked enough football, Coach. Rolling Stone magazine.
Oh, this
today,
is it.
Bro, they put out a list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. 200 greatest singers of all time. I do this with Mark. I call it gut reaction. Okay, I want your gut reaction to numbers 1 and 2. Number 1, Aretha Franklin. Number 2, Whitney Houston.
Aretha Franklin, absolutely. I'm a little older, so I would say Aretha Franklin. There'd probably be another group before I would go Whitney Houston.
Really?
Wow.
See, I think pure voice, Whitney Houston.
This got him going this morning because I said Aretha Franklin and Whitney's
she
like,
could do
no way.
anything. The voice is so good, the range, but I can't argue with Aretha.
When you have a title behind you like Queen of Soul or something like that, you get on
true.
there. Retha was pretty special.
It's like talking about who are the best wide receivers in history, right? Some of it is subjective, right? They're kind of
I think
artists.
most of it is subjective, but
Okay.
Subjective for a reason. And again, a lot of times it can tell you which direction we're going to go.
Yeah.
Well, number 3 on the list was Sam Cooke. I remember that. And I remember 9 was Otis Redding and 10 was Al Green.
Yeah.
I would go Otis Redding before. I would go Otis Redding, Al Green, and then I would go Sam Cooke.
But is Marvin Gaye on the outside of that group?
Marvin Gaye, and then Marvin Gaye.
And then Marvin Gaye. Okay. We got to respect Coach's opinion
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
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 Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck
Thanks
this
for having
week.
me on.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.